Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Sam. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the 12 books that I read in December. I had a very good reading month in December. A bunch of good books, a bunch of books that I was really excited to read. Honestly, I just had a really good time. The sun is also out for the first time in weeks here today. It's going to be a good day. Let's talk about the 12 books that I read in December, wrapping up my 2023 reads. So the first 4 books that I read in the month of December were all part of my Reading Holiday Romance Books for a Week vlog. I'll have that video linked up in the cards if you want to check it out and get my full thoughts on all of these books, as well as seeing my live reactions. So the first book that I read was Set the Record Straight by Hannah Bonam Young. I ended up rating this 3 stars. This was just a little holiday novella. I think it was 150 pages or something. It was a sapphic friends to lovers holiday romance. It was really cute. I love Hannah Bonam Young's writing style. She talks about a lot of serious and heavy topics in a way that is very easy to understand, and her writing just feels like a warm hug every time. So I really enjoy this. This was also my first sapphic romance, which was fun. I did only give it 3 stars because I personally didn't feel like I could really connect to either of the characters, and it also just wasn't giving the holiday vibes that I was looking for. But I am very excited that I read this and knocked another book off of my Hannah Bonam Young backlist. So I just have 1 book left. The second book that I read in this vlog was Holiday Romance by Catherine Walsh. I ended up rating this 4 stars. I absolutely loved this. It was so fun. It gave all of the holiday cozy vibes. Both of our main characters are living in Chicago, but are originally from Ireland and go home every Christmas to visit their family. And over the course of 10 years, they always end up on the same flight going back home. And yeah, it's kind of like a friends to lovers situation again, a little bit of adventure. It was so much fun. Gave all of the holiday vibes. I had the best time. I just didn't get the full 5-star feeling, but highly recommend. I really wanted to read the second book, Snowed In, this month as well, but I just didn't have time, and I'm out of the Christmas reading mood now. But it's definitely right at the top of my Christmas TBR for 2024. The next book that I read was Resting Scrooge Face by Megan Quinn. This was my first Megan Quinn book, and it was also just a 70-page novella. I rated this 5 stars. This was so good. There was no spice, so if you're not into spicy books, then this one is a good one for you. But this just gave every holiday vibe that I wanted. There was anonymous letters, which I have learned is one of my absolute favorite things in books. I love when there is mixed media and letters and texts and stuff like that. And this was a big part of this novella. It was so good. It was set in a small town, sort of second chance, enemies to lovers sort of thing. And it was just so cute. I'm honestly shocked that Megan Quinn was able to jam-pack that much holiday vibes into such a short little novella. And obviously the plot is not crazy. It's not very complex. There's not a ton going on, but it really worked because of how short it was. And it just gave everything that I wanted it to. I absolutely loved it. Very excited to read more Megan Quinn books this year. The next book that I read was Trick Shot by Kayla Grossi. I ended up rating this 3 stars. I was really excited for this. This is a male, female romance. It's also just a novella. I think it was around 100 pages, 150 pages, something like that. So 2 of our main characters meet at an airport where their plane is canceled their flight is canceled, and they go back to his place where his friend is waiting, and they have a spicy night together. So this is definitely extremely spicy. Do not go into this thinking it's just going to be a cute Christmas romance. This is extremely spicy, which I enjoyed, and I usually enjoy like a why choose situation, but there was just some elements and some kinks, I guess, in this book that just were not for me. So some of the like descriptions and scenes like pulled me out of the story, and that's why I had to knock it down. The next book that I read is The Things We Leave Unfinished by Rebecca Yarros. I really wanted to read this a lot earlier, but the wait at my library was really long, so I only got this book in December. I was really excited for this. I've heard a lot of good things about this book, that it was like heartbreaking, and I ended up only rating it 3 stars. This is sort of like a dual timeline, multiple POV stories. So we're following our main characters in like the current timeline, which of course I can't remember anyone's name. But our female main character's grandmother just recently passed away, and she has moved back home and is taking care of the estate and is like working to sell her grandmother's last book, because her grandmother was an author, and it's like her grandmother's love story. So we're also getting the past timeline, which is essentially this novel that's being written. I don't know if it's just because of how I went into the book, but I wanted more from the current timeline. I feel like we didn't get enough scenes of their like developing relationship between our female main character and our male main character, who is ghostwriting the remainder of the story, because I really liked them. I feel like a lot of what we saw in their relationship was a lot of being told what was going on, and there was a lot of time jumps. I just wish that we got more scenes between them. The past timeline was fully fleshed out with her grandmother's story, and was like gave me all the feels, and was completely heartbreaking and surprising. But it just, I don't know, it left me something to be desired. The next book that I read was A Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J. Maas. This is the last book that's currently out in the ACOTAR series, and Emily and I were continuing our Sarah J. Maas buddy reads. And I rated this 5 stars once again. This is more of a 6-star rate for me. This is one of my absolutely favorite books that Sarah J. Maas has written. I personally really connect with Nesta and her struggles. I just really love the mental health rep in this book. I think it was done really well. It's very realistic in how much of a roller coaster like a day-to-day journey can be, even though you're working to make progress. There's definitely those days that you're taking steps back. I absolutely love this one. I love Nesta. I love Cassian. It's just the best. The next book that I read was Mother of Death and Dawn by Carissa Broadbent. This is the last book in the War of Lost Hearts trilogy. This took me a really, really long time to read, and I think detrimented my enjoyment, because I only rated this book 3 stars. I actually started this book in like the end of November, and because of my holiday reading vlog, I took a break from this one and picked it up later in the month. This was an interesting book because of all of the trauma and rediscovery that our characters have to go through, but I just found it to be really slow, and I was really confused as to what was happening a lot of the time. Even when I came back and was like finishing this out, I had the majority of the book still left to read when I picked it back up in December, and I just think it was too long and maybe should have been split into 2 shorter books, and it should have been a 4-book series as opposed to just a trilogy. I also felt the end to be kind of cringy and predictable and was just kind of overall let down. I really enjoyed the first book and I'm like really disappointed that I didn't end up loving this series. There just like wasn't enough going on. The next book that I read was Done and Dusted by Lila Sage. This is the first book in a like small town cowboy romance situation. I feel like I didn't get enough of the like small town vibes and there was just something missing. It was another one of those situations where it needed to be show don't tell. I feel like we were just told a lot of what was going on and there was some really key moments or scenes that I feel should have been included to get a better understanding and appreciation of our characters' romance and connection. It was a very cute book, but again, I just feel like there was something left to be desired. Next, Emily and I picked up another one of our trauma reads. So this time we read There Arose Such a Clatter, Tales from the Naughty List by C.M. Nascosta. I rated this 2 stars. This was like a Krampus collection of spicy monster novellas. I just found this to be incredibly repetitive and slow, boring. This was like 80 pages. There was 5 different novellas, all from Krampus, that were all like sort of interconnected. And each novella was roughly 20 pages, some way less than others. But you got the description of Krampus every single time, and I could honestly give you the full description after reading it. Like, I don't need you to give me the description every single time. Like, I already know what Krampus looks like. I already know what the sort of like vibe he gave off. It was just very repetitive. There was no like really different spicy scenes. They were all like the same and they were all only like between 1 and 3 pages. And I was just expecting the whole thing to be like spice ravels the plot when the plot was literally just Krampus's descriptions. Also in every single scene, there was some aspect, like some item that Krampus used in the punishment that was just going to cause an infection. And that's all I could think about the entire time was how repetitive it was. And everyone was just going to have this infection. So it was not good. Really disappointed in that one. I had read, actually, Emily and I had read as one of our trauma reads, the Morning Glory Milking Farm. And that was really cute. And I really enjoyed that one. So I was excited to read another book by C.M. Nascosta. And this was not good. Next, I read For the Love of Cupidity. This is book 4 in the Heart Hassle series by Raven Kennedy. This is a series that I really wanted to finish off this year, and book 4 was just a novella. The series is kind of a trilogy, and then the subsequent books are sort of spin-offs. So book 4 is a novella following Amel and her mates. So this is a why choose romance, like after the big conclusion of book 3. This was cute. It was nice being in this world again and seeing like what happened next. But I really didn't like the body descriptions that Amel used for herself. It was just like really uncomfortable, and the like descriptions that she used for body parts and like sexual things was just uncomfortable. This was only like 130 pages, so I got through it pretty quickly, but I was honestly really disappointed in this one. I was really excited to get some good like why choose spice, but the next book I read was Love Light Farms by B.K. Borison. I was really excited for this book, and this was a total flop for me personally. I ended up rating this 3 stars. I was really excited for this one because it's pretty highly rated, and a lot of people say that it gives like great like holiday Christmas vibes, and I just didn't get that at all. This is about our main character who owns and runs a Christmas tree farm and is fake dating her best friend in order to win this influencer contest to be featured on this like Instagram influencers page. Try and bring business in. They talked about this influencer on almost every single page and was such a large part of the like idea of the plot, but the influencer doesn't come in until almost the very end of the book. I feel like you didn't get very much Christmassy vibes. This is also set in a small town. I didn't feel the small town vibes. I cared more about our side characters than I did about our main character, which honestly was the same for Done and Dusted. I didn't really connect to either of the main characters, and I cared more about the side characters. But for Love Light Farms, and everything was like going okay. It was kind of cute, and then we had our like third act conflict, which was just our main character being like naive and stupid, and it was just honestly so infuriating. So this was a really frustrating book. 3 stars is honestly really generous. I was not having a good time with this one at all. I will probably continue and at least read the next book because, like I said, I did care a lot more about the side characters. Also, the male main character's nickname for our female main character was Lala. Like, sometimes it was kind of cute, but then other times it was like really uncomfy. And then the very last book that I read was Sheer Cupidity by Raven Kennedy, which is the 5th book in the Heart Hassle series and the last book in the main series. I did learn that there is another book that's part of the Heart Hassle world, but it is a standalone. So I am still probably going to read that and like officially be done with the series. But this one I ended up rating 4 stars. This is about 2 of our side characters, and I absolutely loved it. I had the best time. Again, this takes place pretty much immediately after book 3, and I can't really say what happens because obviously it's a huge spoiler, but the way that book 3 ended for these 2 characters was like I had an idea of how I thought this was going to go, and it went in a completely different direction. I was taken entirely by surprise, and it was like a sense of like adventure and romance. It was just so cute, and I just got little butterflies, and I absolutely loved them so much. It just made me so happy. I just loved it. It was a great ending to the series, and yeah, really enjoyed it. Book 3 and 5 were probably my favorite in this series. Book 2 was pretty good as well, but book 3 and book 5 is really where it was at for me. But those are all of the books that I read in December. Overall, I definitely had some like highs and lows, but I had a great time in December. I read a lot of books I was just excited about. I picked, for the most part, the books that I wanted to read. I just had such a fun time. Let me know down below what your favorite book of December or of 2023 was. I would love to chat with you and maybe get some new book recommendations. I hope you have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!